my barrier, they will actually, I can still go quick attack. And also, not to cut you off, Casmin, but we are starting a game on with Kudo versus Flourine, where Flourine is on his Trundle Lysandra and Kudo is on his Agile Draven.
I do think it is the best matchup for Trundle Lysandra because you have so much survivability with all the new tools and everything that as Draven is not going to be able to grind you down from 20 HP. Also, the nerf to Farron was also big towards the power level that as Draven has. Some people said it's not really a nerf because you now have more board space, but I do think the ability to put your opponent to 12 and then put them on a clock was very huge for as Draven. Losing that doesn't feel great.
Yeah, that is not great, and of course this is coming from me, who is a huge fan of Farron. But I feel that the nerf was actually necessary, because if not, hell, Farron in a vacuum can actually kill you by himself. and also, but is there any way that Kudo is able to actually win this matchup?
I cannot really see it, only if probably Flourine bricks on units and no removal, but you can see that Flourine has everything in hand. He could even gone for the Ice Shard, but I think he's keeping it for later, for when the board gets crowded, because he has another Avalanche, he can pair it up with it. And I think so far it is looking also nice for Kudo, because we mentioned that if Flourine draws more into his units, less into his removal, maybe Kudo is going to be able to apply more pressure and little by little grind down Flourine.
And of course, he needs to hope that the damage actually sticks and there will be no healing on the side of Flourine. However, that is gonna be a bit hard with the Blighted Ravine, with the Withering Whale, and of course Catalyst of Aeons. Sorry, my bad. He doesn't run Catalyst of Aeons.
He doesn't run Catalyst of Aeons. Well, that is an interesting tech, I can say. Maybe he just wants to fight more for the board because he's going to reach those late turns naturally, just because he has big bodies in the way and a lot of removal. So I can see the idea behind not running Catalyst.
Yeah, well, I'm an advocate of actually not running Catalyst of Aeons, because I actually did run it in one of my decks previously, and I didn't really like it. It made it a bit clunky, and like as you said, ramp is not very important in this, because the countdowns from the Frozen Thrall also does not go down as you ramp up, so it's not like you're speeding up the Thrall countdowns.
Yeah, also you need to think about in which meta you are playing those cards. If it is a meta in which you expect a lot of aggro, I think playing a 5-mana spell that heals you free but does nothing else is just clunking your hand. So you are better off just running the removal, surviving through the turns, and then you just take it up on the late turns. And I do think in the early days of the new expansion, people are going to, oh, this high shard is going to remove the board.
Yes, do it. No, it's Flourine. Kudo is not able to push any form of damage at all. And down comes the Draglon Inquisitor, and of course everybody knows that you need to remove this as soon as possible, because if once, for those of you who are not familiar with Draglon Inquisitor, is that as soon as he comes down and the round end, if the countdown for his Frozen Thrall is 4 or less, straight away advance them to 0, and then you get an 8/8, just like that.
All right, guys, I do need to ask you something about this censorship, though. Why is not the red allowed? I mean, it's not really blood, it's not really anything. So why violet instead of red? Come on, guys.
Well, I guess it's really just because of blood. Like, if I'm not wrong, the censorship is just because of blood. And the Tri-Beam Imbobulator actually swung the board into Kudo's favor, and Kudo now is able to swing again for 8, which is actually a lot of damage. And there doesn't seem to be any healing in Flourine's hand. So is Flourine in trouble?
So far, it is working towards Kudo's game plan that we mentioned before. If Flourine doesn't have really much removal, it is going to be very easy for Kudo to pick up the damage turn by turn. And you can see that because He is on 19, but his opponent Flourine is already on 8 damage. Also, the Mystic Shot and Ravenous Lock is going to take care of the board. But don't worry, Flourine, you do have more Trundles in your hand. The only problem is you do not have much removal.
Well, the vengeance could have been huge, but due to the nature of actually getting the that dragon with the spell shield, is not, he won't be able to actually vengeance that dragon. So that the vengeance pickup was pretty great, but it's against the, I forgot, it's Firebrand. Yes, Firebrand.
Yeah, but I think you need to pair up Vengeance with something in this deck. Like, you cannot play it naked in this situation. I mean, when your opponent has picked up a Spell Shield minion from the Tribeam, because you want Vile Fist and to pop off the Spell Shield and then go Vengeance, probably. Even go for some AoE like Ice Shard in order to remove the Spell Shield. You do have options, but you are not presented those options in your hand. You just have a Vengeance. It's targeted removal. It can do a great job, maybe against a Farron, but not much against tiny boards or tiny minions.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, and Flourine is actually not able to get rid of this Firebrand, Fuse Firebrand. So unless he actually commits the Three Sisters into Fury of the North, and then actually he just drag out the Fuse Firebrand, which I think is what Flourine is going for, trying to stop the aggro.
So far, but it doesn't really work, and Flourine seems to stabilize little by little. Every single turn, he doesn't give up the board. So once he probably even finds the Lysandra in order to preserve his HP even more, once he gets her leveled and gets the tough, then it's going to be a whole new game. So far, he manages to cling on that 8 HP that he dropped very early in the game. And seems like the pressure from the Ezreal Draven is slowly dying down.
Well, the pressure is definitely slowly dying down, and on the side, and Flourine would be able to counterattack with the Ledros, and just like that, he cuts Kudo's health in half, and now the damage is not so different after all.
The problem is in this matchup is, as Draven, it is relevant for you to keep yourself healthy, because Shadow Elves, Freljord, they do have a lot of options to keep themselves healthy, to not take damage, to heal themselves back. But if you are Ezreal Draven, your HP actually matters, and this is where Commander Lidros comes in, because cuts down the HP in half. An atrocity probably is going to finish you off very fast if you're not careful.
And I think that is the game plan for Flourine. He just needs to survive until he can actually get the atrocity, and there's nothing that Kudo will be able to do to actually stop it, unless he's able to actually damage the Ledros first, I guess. So, but it's how Flourine would win is that it's really tied down to whether or not he's able to draw the atrocity. As soon as he draws the atrocity, the game can just turn on its head.
It can turn on its head, but you mentioned a very important point. If Kudo is managing to damage the Ledros, for example, the turn it is going to come down, it is going to be a whole new level. And let me check the deck real quick. No, I was curious if there was a Revitalizing Roar being played by Flourine, but we do not see none. So Ledros can come down just naturally. It cannot come down in a turn where you have, for example, another 6 mana available for the Trusty play and the OTK in one turn.
Yeah, Ledros, once he commits, he has to commit it hard, and honestly, there is still a lot of damage on the side of Kudo with the two Mystic Shots, which should probably go into face, right? Trying to push that damage, or maybe
you're trying first to level up the Ezreal so you can push more damage, right? With Ezreal. Yes.
Yeah, I was not keeping track of how much Ezreal actually had. So yes, and so over here he has to go for the Ravenous Flock. If not that Mystic Shot was actually a bit of a waste.
It's not really a waste because you now get 2 damage back on the Nexus, that Mystic Shot, the damage that Mystic Shot would have done regardless. So it's not really a waste. You removed a Trundle, and I think this is the final Trundle. There are no more Trundles
This
in
is lethal,
Florine's
right?
deck.
This is lethal if Flourine is not able to heal. If
Yes, but do you see any healing in his hand? I do not see any.
but we have to see it from Kudo's side. Kudo now is asking the question: does he have Withering Wail? And so now he's gonna test first and see if there's any response.
And this is a very important moment in a lot of tournament matches. Do you go for it? Do you want to play around things, or do you just force your opponent to have it? And in the most of the times, and not only in tournaments, on ladder as well, you need to check your opponent and see if they have the option, because the longer you stall the game, the longer you stall the turns, you are giving them options in order to draw into that survivability that they want.
Oh, and Flourine just revealed his hand that actually I don't have anything much. So it's possible that he would actually end it right here. Yeah, this is Flourine's last chance to actually heal. Oh no, he misplayed. He should have targeted a unit. He should have gone for Ice Pillar instead. No.
You mentioned that we should look from his perspective. Maybe he feels comfortable that he can finish the game this turn. But what do we see here? Exactly what we mentioned. The longer you prolong the suffering, the longer you give your opponent top deck possibilities.
That was such a bad misplay. He should have gone for it, unless he can draw into a second burst speed spell, which is nah, there isn't anything that's burst.
You can still draw 2 spells, to be fair, in order to try and contest this damage, because you do get 1 damage from playing a burst speed spell, and if you get 2 targetable spells, that the healing that Flourine just drew is going to be relevant.
The tri-beam here is going to come in, and he has no choice but. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. in my defense, I kind of forgot that there's actually the vengeance. Oh, that is lethal. No, he can't play it. He can't play it. No. Oh well.
Wow.
Oh wow. He missed lethal just like that, and it's costing him super a lot right now. Like, it's not that he will straight up lose, but just giving these kinds of deck an inch, right? It's possible for them to actually crawl back all the way up.
Yeah, it all depends, I think, if Flourine manages to get that atrocity in due time, because he now knows that there is nothing that can threaten him in Kudo's hand. It's only 1 card. Do you play around 1 card? Not so much. You're just advancing with your own plan. And you can even add more pressure with this Direct Learning Inquisitor, because you just need to wait 4 turns until you get an 8-mana troll due to the effect that he has.
Yeah, that is true. So I guess what Kudo would want to do is that he'd actually need to look for his second Ezreal, maybe. Is there any other way out? Do you play the thermal beam here? I don't think so, right? It doesn't make sense to play the thermal beam here.
Technically speaking, you could wait and you could pass, as Kudo doesn't wait for other top decks, or at least for something else that you can discard and search through your deck, because this Thermal Beam essentially says to your opponent, alright, I do not have nothing. After I do this, I give you full freedom of what you are going to do.
Both sides playing it super cautiously, and like I always like to say, 1 is not 0, and just by playing it and just by allowing Flourine to actually survive with 1 HP.
And I do love these ballsy lead draws, because Flourine realized that my opponent doesn't have any damage. Do I play around the top deck? Probably not. Probably I'm just going to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, he has to bet on top deck now, especially since the next thing was going to be Farron. But so let's see how will Flourine play this out. Let's go Atrocity.
At this point, you don't even need atrocity because you do drag the healer and you drag another unit, and then you can even drag a fourth unit, and yeah, you can drag everything because 2 units have vulnerable.
Okay,
No, actually, you can just drag 2, but you can drag the units you need in order to finish the game off. That Farron is not going to be enough, I think. That Farron, if it blocks the 4-5, it is going to let Lidros do, so he needs to block the Lidros. You play Lidros again and again and again, your opponent slowly crumbles.
But the thing is, he doesn't have time to play Lidros again and again and again though. Like, because even with the Withering Wail heal, right? Next turn is still enough. Is still enough for the what's it called again? For the Decimate. So what he actually need to do is that I think that the only way out is to bet on the atrocity next turn.
Yeah, Atrocity seems like the play you need, but Atrocity is still not enough, to be fair, because your opponent is still at 9 HP.
No, but just not if he attrod with the Lidros, it would have been just nice.
Yes, but that would have implied for Lidros to be alive, so it might have been another alternative route that Flourine could have taken last turn. Not go for the Lidros attack, keep it on the bench, and then play for the Atrocity little.
Oh, but that was way too. This is just game for in the side for Kudos, but that was, I feel like that misplay may have costed him if the draws were a little bit more different.
You know, it's a tournament. It's a lot of pressure. So at some points you might just not see the most obvious line. We of course have caster vision. We know what is in both players' hands. So yeah, for us it might have been natural. For him it might have been not really that natural.
Yeah, I guess that's true. We see both hands, and we saw that Flourine is in trouble from the get go. So yeah, maybe that. So game 1 goes to Kudo, with an unfavorable matchup. But of course, card games, like you said earlier, there's always a chance that if the favorite deck breaks and then he just loses, which is actually what happened.
It was in the driver's seat the whole game. That was nice because Flourine didn't have much removal. Kudo was still able to push a lot of damage with its units. It was just one crucial turn where you could have decided to just go for it or not. He didn't go for it.
Yeah, sorry.
It got punished.
Sorry to cut you off, Castmin. So right now we're actually on to game 2 with Kudo on the Fiora Shen versus Flourine on the TF Filios. This matchup, I would say, it's actually strangely heavily favored on the TF Filios, but I guess it's not so strange after all because of the value that TF Filios is able to generate.
Let's actually check if there are any Moonlight Afflictions being played. It is also one Moonlight Affliction being played, so you do have one Moonlight Affliction, you do have double hash, plenty of opportunities to get rid of the barriers. Also, you can add a lot of survivability to your own units through Pell Cascades, through Sunblessed Vigor, so on and so forth, even Guiding Touches if they are a bit damaged. And as you mentioned at the beginning, Felt Temple, really nasty.
Really nasty, but it doesn't look like Flourine has Veiled Temple on 4, and because of that, you know what, he's going to lose right now, okay? But yeah, the fact that he doesn't have Veiled Temple on 4 is actually pretty detrimental for Flourine.
Stop caster cursing people, please. In this respectable establishment, we do not caster curse people. Thank you.
All right. But okay, back to the game right now. What Flourine can do is that he can actually start with the Solari Priestess, maybe just to see what he can actually get value out of. And also it's possible that so he can actually just start with the Solari Priestess and see what he gets from there.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, the hand is back. Nice. One thing that you can go for in this deck is also a Burble Little if you get enough Burble Fishes or enough Elusives from what you are summoning, because I think he is also... Oh, never mind, he is not playing any copy of Mindmeld, but he can still go for it after the pressure is going to be put onto Kudo. Also, you do not need to undermine the potential of invoking a Great Beyond, and Great Beyond is just GG at some point.
A Great Beyond is just GG. Like you said, it's insane. The spell shield, elusive, and a huge body. Is at that point, it seems like it's just going to be a straight up win for you, for whoever plays the Great Beyond.
But as of now, it seems like Kudo has the advantage on the board. He managed to play Fiorashen, and you know, it's the name of the deck, Fiorashen. Well, some people call it now OTK Ages. Some people, meaning me and a few others, but...
Okay, but of course, Fiorashen always, if they're in this spot, they're actually in a really good spot right now. That they're able to actually deal with with whatever board comes, like especially with the Fiora, since you know you can barrier and drag with the Fiora, and then that thing most likely will die. On top of that, if that's not enough, you still have access to all sorts of barriers that you can protect, and buffs that you can protect a Fiora with. So right now, I think Kudo is trying to go for the there we go, the single combat, trying to clear the TF as soon as possible.
But this single combat is not going to do much in the turns to come, right? Because we do see both hands, and if Flourine ever decides to go for the obliterate on the Fiora, the win condition of Fiora is going to be disabled once she hits the hay.
Yeah, soon, like because Flourine actually got the the obliterate. What's it called? Cataclysm? Wait, no.
Falling
Cataclysm is the wrong. Because of falling comet, and honestly, just leveling up a Fiora is not worth anything if you play a fresh Fiora, because the only difference is that now he adds a +1/+1 stat. That's the only difference between a leveled Fiora and a non-leveled Fiora. So Kudo needs to protect his Fiora here if he actually wants to go for the Fiora win con.
But there is no deny, so this Fiora is just going to die at any point that Falling Comet is going to hit play.
But if Falling Comet does hit over here, the thing is, it's still not a very good spot for Flourine, because now he can just switch over to the swarm the board and then just smork until Flourine gives up.
And towards that game plan, we do see a big nasty unit, that is the Brycil formation. Once it hits turn 9 and you play it, especially on the attack turn, the game suddenly changes into your favor. And unless there is a Ruination and your opponent doesn't have a deny, it's pretty hard. But of course, we are not playing in a matchup where Ruination is available to Flourine, because this is Targon, this is Bilgewater, so nothing that can be done about it, really, unless there is a hush.
So should Kudo actually have gone for the concerted strike there, because there isn't a lot of things that can protect the...
We do see a star shaping being milled away because Flourine had too many cards.
He forgot to count.
Well, maybe he didn't forget to count. Maybe he just decided, okay, I have enough cards that I need in my hand in order to finish the game. Really, at some points, that decision is not strange at all. If you do have all the cards that you want in order to finish your opponent, you might just want to say, all right, screw to my top deck. I have everything.
But the thing is, you have stuff that you can actually burn away, like the petals. Do you really want to burn away a card in your deck as compared to a petal?
The decision was yes for Flourine here.
But it seems like this may be game. Is it gonna be game? Okay, why I say it may be game, right, is because that if Flourine actually goes for the Falling Comet, he'll in response, Kudo will actually go with the Fiora and actually shoot actually shoot the Filios. And at which point
This doesn't
there
even
isn't much
matter,
that
to be
that he
fair,
can
at
do.
this point. You just
And-
rally and win.
Yeah, and if it fail, and if that fails, you can just go into Golden Ages and win.
Like,
So that
this
is
is a
game.
checkmate.
Yeah, they just game for Kudo. It's just a matter of how does he want to win.
Just a matter of that. How does he want to win? There is no hash whatsoever. So even if there was a hash, this plan is still fail-safe because you do have the rally available to yourself. All right, there is going to be a kill problem.
That was a really fast game, and Kudo actually showed that he is superior to Flourine.